What's good? What's good this morning? Let's get into it. I wanted to jump the morning off right with you guys. Um, I don't know. I think something's off here, but yeah, because I'm not seeing anybody getting that notification right now. Sorry about that. Now they just sent one, so there it is. It just that blue just came up. So thank God they sent the notification out. Um, let's get into it. The Brooklyn Nets. All this week, Sean Marks has been talking with Kevin Durant's team, his representatives. He hasn't spoken to Kevin directly. He's been speaking with his representatives to get this deal done. The owners involved as well. They want to get Kevin Durant what he wants, and they're trying hard to make that happen. They're not viewing Kevin Durant as a problem here, and they were really going to exhaust all of their resources to try and make this a reality for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant did not do anything to make this a terrible decision for them. He was very transparent with the company, going directly to the owner, as he told them in advance, if some changes happen and you guys are moving in another direction, and you guys are telling me that direction, then I probably would have to make a decision based on those. So he was paying close attention to what was going on, because what happens is that could affect my decisions. And they seem to have a plan that doesn't involve Kyrie Irving staying with the organization. They don't want to, they tried to keep him, and they said, hey, we wanted to keep him here, but he seems to be content with leaving. He wants a 5-year deal. We don't want to commit that much money to Kyrie Irving, and there might be something that happens in the future where he misses a lot of games. Or it's another lockdown or whatever, and he's just not here. So they can't depend on the fact that he won't be available or all of these different things. So that becomes a problem. Don't forget to hit the like button. You can support the page by hitting the super chat or the Cash App, which is Carceno, Carceno. Well, the Nets are letting him know that Aiden is just not going to do it for him. Not for Kevin Durant. See, the Rudy Gobert trade screwed up everything. That ridiculous trade that the Minnesota Timberwolves did, giving up like 4 players and 5 draft picks for Rudy Gobert, just messed up everything for Kevin Durant's trade. It just screwed everything up to high heaven. And the reason why it screwed it up is because now people are saying, look what they gave up for Rudy. We got Kevin Durant. Oh, you're gonna have to come way better than that for Kevin Durant. And it's like, look, we can't help Minnesota's stupid. But now they're gonna charge you for it. Yeah, they traded all of that. They gave up Beasley, they got Pat Bev, they got 2 other players, and they got 5 draft picks for one player, Rudy Gobert. Now everybody's trades are screwed up. Now the value is like, okay, look at what they did for Rudy. We have Kevin Durant. Now they're saying, look at what they did for Rudy. We got Kyrie Irving. So now they're telling the Lakers, they're telling the Phoenix Suns, we want more. The Nets are being very greedy. Well, in that process, everything changed around. So by them being so greedy and aggressive, now they've screwed up. Because now that they so greedy and aggressive, now they're saying you guys are gonna need a three-team trade or a four-team trade or whatever to make this work because we want high profile names, to come here. We don't just want one player. Like we're gonna need a Devin Booker or a Chris Paul or somebody's gonna have to come to the team to make this deal work. We got Kevin Durant here, which is gonna mess it up because if you got Kevin Durant and you're trading for Booker and and okay, let's say they give up Book and he goes to Brooklyn, which isn't gonna happen. They just signed him for 240 million, but you give up Book and Chris Paul to send him to Brooklyn. Are you crazy? That's not gonna work. So Aiden, Bridges, and probably some other draft picks that you can get through the draft. Um, it's gonna be incredible. Well, the Brooklyn Nets have a big problem on their hands. Um, the problem with the Brooklyn Nets is that they figure that they got it all figured out. And it happens, man. It happens in this industry. You get people who think, all right, we still can make a run for the playoffs, sell some tickets, but we got to blow this thing up because everyone's unhappy. Now they were prepared to go into this year different. This was not supposed to be their year. And it wasn't supposed to go like this, in other words. This was supposed to be something entirely different. But this was supposed to be was a year that they were supposed to make a run for a championship. But now this has turned into a nightmare. They were very comfortable that they were going to get Kyrie Irving to resign. They were very stunned that he didn't resign. They really thought they were going to work a deal out with him, and that Kyrie had another option. And once his other option was he could leave, that opened a whole new door. Well, if they start the season with both of these teams on the roster, it's going to create a problem because if you have these guys playing, what you're doing is you're screwing up. Like because if you start doing that, you're gonna risk Kyrie getting injured, and then you're gonna be stuck with him for the whole season. Then he's gonna leave, and you're gonna get nothing for him. So they're gonna trade Kyrie Irving because if they let him play out the season, then you get nothing for him. He's leaving for free, and you get nothing. So you might as well trade him while he has value. Kevin Durant, you want to have a player on your team that's going to be disgruntled and doesn't want to be there. That's not what you want as a guy that runs a team. I mean, if you own an organization and you run an organization, the last thing you want is a disgruntled employee or a disgruntled superstar in the league on your team. If you got Kevin Durant and he doesn't want to be there, that's bad on your team. It's bad on him, and they'll shut it down. He'll sit out the season. He's got enough money to do it. So you might want to when they're a superstar, you have to almost send them where they want to go. Well, Sean Marks is probably doing what the owners would allow him to do because they were in a no bargaining situation. It was like you have to pay Kyrie Irving or trade him. That's it. Don't play around with these deals and try to get him to sign a ridiculous contract. That's ridiculous. If you're going to put in incentives and benchmarks that Kyrie need to hit in order to get his money while earning the supermax already, then you've already failed. So now that he's served this contract out next year, if he's traded to Los Angeles at the start of this season, before the season starts, which would make more sense to me. But if they can't get it done, they got into the trade deadline to get it done. But I would want to get Kyrie off my team as quickly as possible because having Kyrie off my team means he can't get hurt on my team. So I'm not stuck with him for a whole year and I can't move him. I can get something off of him while the value is still good. The Nets have no power in the Kevin Durant situation. Kevin Durant is a superstar. It's the illusion that they have power. They have none. If they decide to keep Kevin Durant, you know what he's gonna do? Sit down and not play. Or you want him to go out there and just halfway play? Do you want him to do that? Then Kevin Durant gets hurt. Now you got to pay him for sitting down. Now he's got a leg injury. He's gonna sit out when he rather would probably have played with that injury. But now I'll just sit out. No, they're gonna. He's a superstar. There's a microscope watching him. It's not like one of these other players who have no choice but to play. A superstar has all the power. Kevin Durant has the power, and they know it. Everyone else knows it. Katie is not going to stay when Russell Westbrook comes in there with a Brooklyn uniform on. He's played with Russ before. He's not going to try to play with Russ again. That was a different time, Mr. Sledge. He had no power back then. This is a whole different era. Michael Jordan had no power. He had all this power in the league, but he didn't know how to exercise that power because they were winning. See, one thing that was not going to happen is Reinsdorf wasn't going to be dictated to. If they didn't win it in 91, Cross was fired. Michael Jordan was going to go to them if they had lost to the Pistons in '91 and didn't make it. He wanted Jerry Krause fired, effective immediately. That was the year they had the most turmoil because Jerry Krause didn't listen to anything Michael Jordan said. All the people Michael Jordan wanted on the team, he didn't get. So Jordan was really pissed and said, if we lose to the Pistons, I'll retire. He threatened to retire from the NBA if they lost again. He was tired of losing to Detroit and he was going to retire. See, the stuff they leave off The Last Dance. Michael Jordan wanted Rod Higgins on the team. And that was his best friend, Golden State Warriors. They had a chance to get Rod Higgins. And he said no. And they got Dennis Hopson. And he hated Dennis Hopson. And he was with the New Jersey Net. He hated him. And he treated him like dog crap the whole time because Krause picked him. He was a Jerry Krause pick, and Michael Jordan wanted Rod Higgins, his homeboy, and they didn't do that. So it pissed Michael off and gave Dennis Hopson a rough time. So Michael didn't have the power back then. He ran the whole league, but Mike wasn't the really vocal person to make those changes happen. So that's what I'm saying. Today and to now, it's entirely different. So hit the like button. The like button is free. It don't cost you anything. The Cash App is Carceno. You can hit that up at any time. We appreciate it. Now, Michael Jordan came in and did something amazing. He built the whole sport up and didn't really ask for anything. He turned it to $1 billion business. And then it takes to 2022 for the NBA to really give him his flowers with the NBA 75. Um, yep. Now he's on NBA 2K23 or whatever, 2K23 game, whatever. He's on the cover. They finna just milk this Michael Jordan thing to the end. Oh, of course, the shoe game changed. He built the Nike Corporation. He turned Nike into a damn near $1 trillion company, and he does not own any ownership in that Nike whatsoever. He only owns shares into Jordan Brand. They gave him his branch of that, but he's not a shareholder of Nike at all, which makes no sense. His people now got a better shoe deal than Michael Jordan has. Steph Curry got the best deal probably in sports with Under Armour. He's a part owner of Under Armour, the corporation. So not only did he have his own shoe, he got in before they really took off. So now you look at Under Armour, they sell everything. Steph Curry get a piece of all of it. Did this man just say, why would I want shares in Nike when I have Jordan Brand? Jesus Christ. And they wonder why we so behind. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't even think I need to explain that. let's move on. Let's get back to Kevin Durant. Oh man, so Kevin Durant has the power and more than what they had back then. Now, the main problem is with Kevin Durant is that he's a superstar. He's one of the top players in the NBA. If he says he wants to go in this age and time, you got to move him. Because if you keep Kevin Durant on your team and he doesn't want to be there, it's going to be hazardous to your team. It's going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt him. Even though he signed for 4 years, you could say, well, I don't have to trade you. Oh, you got to trade him. And you got to send him where he wants to go. You trade him to another team, he's going to inform that team, if y'all trade me here, I'm going to sit out this year until y'all can move me somewhere. I don't want to be here. So you're going to have a disgruntled Kevin Durant on a team he don't want to be on. I don't think Brooklyn want a bad relationship transition with Kevin Durant. And I don't think you're going to see one. He wants to go to Phoenix. They're going to make sure he gets there. They just want to be fully compensated during the transition. No, I just ate turkey sandwich right now. The NBA is too soft. Absolutely, it's too soft. That's why you can't compare any player from today based in the '90s or the early 2000s. They would get swallowed. And I keep trying to tell people, they keep saying, what about the '96 Bulls versus the Golden State Warriors? The Golden State Warriors wouldn't probably beat the Milwaukee Bucks from the '90s. There's the Sacramento Kings from the '90s would probably dog walk the Golden State Warriors. This is how the if you try to play that style of basketball that they played back then, now Steph Curry would get punched in the stomach. You think he would get those shots off? He'd have to walk those shots off. As soon as he start doing this, he do one little shimmy. Oh, he gonna catch an elbow to the face. He come down the lane with all that. You can't do that. When he come down the lane and throw those little teardrops, there's nobody there but him. You do that in the '90s, it's four guys down there that's gonna make you eat that basketball. You're gonna have the power forward, the center, everybody there waiting for you at the rim. Oh, he's still talking crazy. He said, why would you need stock in Nike when you have a net worth of $2 billion? Jesus Christ. I can't help him. Y'all y'all help that man. He might just be trolling. He said, explain it to him. We got time. Listen, I don't need to cook him. Asking a question is talking crazy. When your question doesn't make any sense, Nike owns Jordan brand. Okay. They have a percentage of Jordan brand. Michael Jordan's gets he has the lion's share of Jordan brand, right? Team Jordan. But every Air Jordan shoe that comes out, Nike and Jordan and Nike split that shoe 50-50. Now, when they come out with a Team Air and all that, the percentages change. But Nike overall sells all different type of shoes. If Michael Jordan has stock in Nike, that means LeBron shoes, any other players that come around their shoes, he gets a percentage of all of it. Everything that's sold with Nike, if Nike's making money because their product placement is used in movies, he gets paid off of all that moves. Michael Jordan is other investments that is damn near bigger than his Jordan brand. That's the reason why he's worth 2 billion. It's not just because of gym shoes. If I have to explain that, then I hope you are in summer school. Because that is a real easy thing to explain. That's self-explanatory. You about to have this chat go crazy. You ain't kidding, it's common sense. Now, everyone else coming around got better shoe deals. They got equity into the shoes now. Before athletes was just getting flat fees. But now you have some of these athletes getting equity deals in their shoe programs. Now, the Rudy Gobert situation with Kevin Durant has caused a big rift in how they're going to do this trade. That stupid trade Minnesota did has screwed up the Kyrie and Kevin Durant trade because Rudy Gobert, they gave up way too much just to get Rudy. And now they got Kyrie and Kevin Durant. They like, we know both of them is better than Rudy. They got 4 players and 5 draft picks, like for Rudy Gobert. So I know we supposed to get at least damn near 10 or some superstar players for these guys. I'm not taking some C-level players. I got Kevin Durant here. So y'all gonna have to work with a third party or maybe even a fourth party. Y'all gonna have to pull some strings and get some things done, but we need draft picks, a lot of them, and we want some players. Now that would be interesting, Chris. We almost did that one time. Got on there together. Yeah, he screwed the market up because now Brooklyn think, well, we can get more for Kyrie now because of this stupidity of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because they stupid, we can go ahead and do all this other stuff now. Jordan does own Jordan brand. He just doesn't own 100% of Jordan brand. The thing is, there is a business contract they have with Nike. It's licensed and distributed through Nike. It's like Big Baller Brand. They were trying to get a distribution deal with Nike. And this is why these shoes didn't come out. And if you did, because they couldn't fulfill those type of numbers. Nike has a corporation where they can make those shoes very rapidly. You have to pay overhead costs and all these different things. And that's where LeVar Ball dropped the ball, which he could have had like what Jordan has with Big Baller brand, saying, yes, you own it. Nike will distribute your Big Baller brand. So you're basically paying for distribution, but you keep your ownership. Now, your main signature shoe, Air Jordan, since it started with Nike, Nike gets a percentage of that. They split that 50-50. Now, the rest of your shoes, they're going to distribute, but now, now they get their percentage. They get a small percentage of the Jordan brand shoes. But Jordan, they don't make any executive decisions at Nike. Nike makes those decisions. Everything Nike, they're making the decisions on. Kevin Durant is going to the Phoenix Suns. Who will all be there? I know they're not going to give up Devin Booker. They're not going to give up Chris Paul. If they give up Chris Paul or Devin Booker, then that might just nick the trade with Kevin Durant. Bridges is going to be gone, and Aiton will be gone. The Suns do not want to re-sign Aiton for that money, and that relationship has been severed. So I don't think he's going to play for Phoenix. Period. He's going to just be gone. So it's going to be a sign and trade. Like we're going to do a sign, trade him off. And this is where Brooklyn know they got the Suns by the balls because they's like, look, y'all know y'all gotta do a sign and trade. And they like, dude, we could sign and trade Aiden to any other team in the league. A lot of people want Aiden. So, we want Kevin Durant, but we're not trying to cripple our whole team to get him. As far as I know, Ben Simmons is staying in Brooklyn. There's not a lot of teams that want him. The Lakers wanted Ben Simmons at one point, but that's not going to happen when they can get Kyrie Irving. But yeah, at this point, Ben's coming off a back injury, mental problems, the whole nine. So Brooklyn's going to need him back there, especially if they trade for Russ. So you'll have Russ and Ben Simmons on the team. It is what it is. No, he doesn't own 100%. Nike gets a percentage. Nick Cannon was just telling people how the business works. Owning 100% of something doesn't make you really that any money. You have to give up some percentage in order to make money. That's how somebody else has to be in it. As long as you have some ownership in it. In investing, do you realize that you should never really own more than 4% into a company? Anything more than 4%, it's gonna be probably a high tax bracket for you. So to keep your taxes low, 4% should be the most. Then you let someone else divvy up the rest, and they have the majority and lion's share of the company. 4% should be good because let's say you get 4% in 78 different companies. All that 4% and all that equity adds up. You ever heard of a company called McDonald's? This is why Red Kroc, who's the owner of McDonald's, was able to take it over. You watch the movie The Founder, you see how that took place, but you don't know how he was able to expand it so fast. He wasn't in the restaurant business, he really was in the real estate business, and he just didn't know it. He was looking at the restaurant and sandwiches and getting a milkshake machine in there, and he's paying overhead for ice cream and all of these different things. People don't understand that he's like, dude, you struggling to make money when you got a company that's thriving. Like, what are you doing here? You looking at this all wrong. Make these guys owners. So the responsibility is on them. You own the land. So you become a real estate investor. So if you had a restaurant, and this is what he did, Ray Kroc, is he had his first McDonald's, his second McDonald's, and instead of running these McDonald's, he said, you know what, take his second in command, say, hey, you know everything I know here. I'm going to give you ownership of this one. You're going to be the president of this McDonald's. You're going to be the owner. You're going to have 96%. I'm just going to take 4%. And you're running the whole thing. And you get 90%, 6% of the profits. I'm going to take 4%. Who wouldn't take that deal? Who wouldn't take that deal? 96% of a McDonald's and they taking four? You're going to take that deal every day of the week. So bad. That guy's like, cool. He takes that 96%, you take the 4%. Now he's making the lion's share of the money, way more than you. Now you go and get another McDonald's and you do the same process there. You get that guy 96% ownership, you just take four. Now, what are you getting that they're not getting? They're getting a lot of money, they 96%, but what are they getting? What are you getting that they're not getting? McDonald's did not start in Illinois, but they call McDonald's one out here in the McDonald's universities out here. But no, it really didn't start here. Control? Nope. What you're getting is time for dollars. So far, we're at two McDonald's for that guy he's getting 8% off of two McDonald's so far. But you know what he don't have to do? He don't got to go in that place. He ain't got to run the place. He ain't got to do nothing. And he's getting 8% off both of them. Now, those two individuals who getting 96%, they only get 96% of one McDonald's. They got to come to work every day. They got to make sure the place is ran. They got to do all the books. They got to do everything. All you do is collect your 4%. So you got time to spend with your family. You got time to do anything you want to do. You can open up another McDonald's, which he did. Now he's opened up all these restaurants. Think about how many McDonald's there are now. He did the same system in every last one of these McDonald's. And McDonald's have all these different owners that own these one McDonald's, and they getting all this money off one McDonald's, and they get 4%. Now you add up all that 4%, you're talking billions. Money that's gonna go on forever. All that 4% is all added up. Now you see, now you get it. You've created time for dollars. You have less responsibility, you have less taxes, but it frees you up to keep expanding. That 4%. You didn't put in a lot. You're not taking out that much. You're making some, but not a lot. But all that 4% is going to add up. And then you're getting paid doing nothing. Ray Kroc kids and great grandkids never have to work a day in their life. They never even walked into McDonald's. And they're paid for life. So I'm glad we're having this business lesson. But yes, this is why a lot of investments that I have, people don't even know about. They tried to, somebody tried to dox me and try to tell me what I own. I'm like, dude, you don't even have close to my financials. Why do you think I'm in a house that costs $600,000? Why do you think I have all these things just because of YouTube? You think YouTube would pay me that kind of money? No. You have to know how to invest. You have to know what to invest in. You have to incorporate yourself. I've incorporated myself. I learned on my own by forging a path and learning from my mistakes. I made a mistake by making a company rich and me not getting the benefit of it because I wasn't on the right position of the ownership. I didn't have control. They had all the control. So if they tell me they want to change direction and they want to go in a different way, you say, do Bill Gates own and Microsoft? Bill, I don't know what exact stock he owns, but believe me, he don't own a lot of stock in Microsoft. I'll tell you that right now. You realize that these companies, they sell off their ownership. You think Mark Zuckerberg owns 100% of Facebook? No. He probably owns maybe 12% or probably something in that avenue, but no, he doesn't. They don't own that. They that's how they get their revenue going. No, building up a company and selling the company is not a good way to go. What you want to do is to be able to duplicate. You want a chain. Now, if I could build a chain of corporations and have a percentage in them, small percentage, and be an angel investor in projects, then that way you can get your money. And if the company ever becomes anything and not sell it, partner with another brand, and your stock can go up in that company. You want to find a way to partner. Some companies you build up to sell. Like this is as far as it's going to go in this market. Um, so the giants would come and buy it. Like let's say Coca-Cola or Pepsi. They're the giants in the beverage department. And you have a certain energy beverage and they want to acquire it. And it's done well on its own. But now you've done well enough to get it to the big table. And now, like the vitamin water deal, I got sold for $4 billion. Now everyone gets a big piece. You know, Twitch, a guy that we know started Twitch and he sold it for like 900 something $1 million. A guy who had nothing came to us and asked us on boxingsocialist.com, could he stream? We put his live stream that he had on our page that he had in a boxing gym? And I said, well, yeah, I'll give it to Sean. Sean put the link up there and there it was. So it was called Justin TV, and Justin TV used to have all these platforms of people streaming, and they'll just put it on their platform, and then people would play video games on it, and those were the massive hits. People just playing video games on there, and it was just streaming that. And then so it got to the point where they said, "We're gonna pay you to play video games." And he's like, "You gonna play video games on there? We'll pay you to do it." And it was a little bit of money. They were doing it for free anyway. So he was like, "Okay, cool. I can make money doing it. Cool." So they had more people paying money to play video. They were paying them money to play video games. And then he told us, he's like, "Hey, we're gonna just take that boxing thing down. We're not gonna even do that no more. All the views are coming from this gaming because it would be crazy. It'd be like 100,000 views or 2 million views for a game, and then every other stream he had, it was like 58 views, 300 views, 200. Then you look at that, it's like 1.3 million. I'm like, Jesus. So they shut down Justin TV. And he said, we're gonna shut down Justin TV, man, but we want to thank you for letting us come on the platform and do all these things." And sure enough, they shut it down. Him and his team that he had that built this programming and stuff, and they named it Justin TV. And once they built it to Justin TV, I mean, they named it Twitch, and that was the new company, and it was all about streaming video games and everything else. And Google and Apple and everybody was fighting for who was going to purchase it and how much to pay for it. And Google thought they had it for like 700 million, and then and it was like 750 million. Google almost had it, and then I think Apple came at the last minute and took it for like, man, they took the money in cash. Like 989 million in cash. I swear, in cash. That was the deal. They took it in cash. Yeah, it was Amazon. Sorry. Amazon paid them in cash. He wanted out. He got all the money he wanted and got out. And he paid his partners, got their money, and I'm like, and I'm just was angry. I was angry at him for taking that deal. Like, that's stupid. They was like, "Dude, he got 900 million." I'm like, "No, he got to split it with everybody." So he gonna walk away with still over 500 some million. But still, I'm pissed because that ain't even enough. They like, "Man, that's for like 16,000 generations." I'm like, "You really think so? That 500 million be gone. You blink, that 500 million be gone." But you could have taken care of your family forever if you'd have found some way to keep some type of ownership, some type of percentage into that Twitch. I ain't never finna give away that company for and give away all of it. I'm gonna have a percentage. My kids, grandkids, true, all of them will have a piece of that forever. No, he wasn't gonna get equity in Amazon, but he could have had equity in Twitch. He could have had some piece in that, but he wanted out. He got out. It still baffles me to this day. He got out. Now, let me tell you, all the people that was telling me I was stupid, it was the greatest deal ever, right? In the first year Amazon had Twitch, they did probably almost 2 billion to $3 billion. In the first year of having Twitch, they made almost $3 billion. So they made all their money back for what they paid for Twitch in 1 year. They sold that company off and they made that money back in 1 year. I told them that was the stupidest thing they could have did. Nobody listened to me. They looking at the numbers. That's a lot of money though. I just, man, that's still a lot of money. I'm like, see, people don't have that vision. They never see it. Why you think they paid you 900 million in cash? Because they know it's worth 20 times that. Is that all you want? Google didn't go deeper in the bag. Like, no, I'm not gonna go that far in the bag. Oh, they went far. Amazon knew. They were like, oh, we know what to do with it. And they let Amazon take that wealth. Google has never lived that down. So that's that. Yeah, I would have to keep some type of percentage in the deal. I'd be like, no, for something like that, something that's like that. Like most people don't have an idea that can turn into a lot of money. They might have one of those in a lifetime. You gonna have to ride that one to the end. That's $100 billion idea that just spearheaded out of nowhere. Well, most of those people run to investors because they need money, the money to keep it going, because it's going to cost a lot to keep the bandwidth going and the overhead. And you got a company that's making all of this success happen, and people got a code, and that stuff going to cost you a lot of money. You gonna blink and you out of 25,000, you out of 50,000. Even though you generating the money, you spending it as it's coming through the door. Lakers and Bucks in the NBA Finals. I don't see it. I don't see the Lakers getting there. The West is too strong. I mean, you got to look at what's out already out there. You're gonna have the Clippers out there again with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and the way they play ball. There's so many teams that play way better than the Lakers. Like as far as a team, they have no team. They were losing even with AD. Once he got the money, he got lazy. I feel you. They're gonna need a third team or a fourth team to deal with it. The problem won't be addressed until they get that part situated. Well, if you watch the social network, you see that Mark Zuckerberg never sold and gave up ownership like in MySpace. MySpace, that Tom guy, Tom was just a face that they made. He was just one of the guys that was in there. And they was like, Tom, the creator. It was MySpace had a whole team of people that came up with MySpace. It was a whole group of them. And they just chose this one guy, Tom, and he was the face of MySpace because they needed one person and to make it like it's one head in there. Tom's on there. Everybody follow Tom. It was a good marketing ploy, but they end up selling the company and they sold it and got out, and MySpace was just done. It had jumped the shark. And what Zuckerberg didn't do is take the valuation that they had that would have gave them 500 million, 200 million, buy them out. Nope, he kept it, kept that ownership. Now, Facebook is worth billions. Now he's one of the richest men in the world because he kept ownership. Yeah, boy, that was some good times, Facebook. But it wasn't a good time watching that page load. Oh my God. Waiting on the page to load was like hell. But yeah, we got 2 more minutes. So any questions you want to ask, you can ask it right now. Don't forget to hit me up on the Cash App, which is Carceno, Carceno. The super chat worked. Everybody who donated, thank you. Appreciated it. I had a DSL. I had one of the internets with the stick that you pay for. You could put it slide in a SD card that had the internet on it. Yes, I watch my Pistons. Blackplanet.com. Yes, I invest. Do you charge for business constellations? I'm a business consultant. I try not to consult. If I do, it's on the Patreon. So if you're on the Carcino for Life Patreon, then yeah, that's basically paying for consulting. Nobody really impresses me in summer league. Summer league is just seeing who can play, who can't play, or people who shining right now. But you playing against guys who gonna be, back packing groceries at a grocery store. They just it's summer league, so it's what it is. You can't really just say, okay, they dominated summer league and they ready for the league. It's just getting your experience and your players, just putting them on a showcase. I mean, the guy that Memphis got, the big boy, he looked pretty good. Even though they're gonna try to get him to cut down some weight. Big boy can play. No, I can't. Tony Powers. That's for you to do. My thing is, you should never want anybody to help start your page off. That's the wrong idea. What is coming to the Patreon? Everything.